Hi, welcome to Wednesday Wisdom. My name is Sera Doğramacı and I'm IHA's Goaltender Development Manager. And today will be our final Wednesday Wisdom, which we will get into a little bit later. So today we don't necessarily have someone who's directly involved in the goalie world, not a goalie coach, not a goalie, not a goalie mom, anything like that. But it's the former IHA president, Miranda Ransome. Welcome.
Hey, Sarah. Hi.
So reason being we have you here, aside from being former IHA president, and the most recent one, you've seen all the things that have happened in the goalie world. So we will get into that a little bit later. But let's take it all the way back to, how did you get involved in hockey?
That's a good question. Well, look, basically I'm involved in hockey because my son Jack's involved in hockey. Jack started skating in 2006 and was doing, D-League at SIA.
Oh,
and Carl Di Piazza, who a lot of people in New South Wales know, looked at him in skate school and said, come on, man, you got to be playing hockey. And that basically was the end of it. And Jack joined the club in 2007. That was the formation year for the Emperors Club. And I started volunteering. As you do as a parent, you want to become involved, and sort of volunteering here and there, and ended up on the club committee.
Nice.
And went from club committee to managing some of the teams that Jack was on. So all the way from Adams up until midgets, which was. Look, I've never played hockey. That's true, and I have to admit that I was, because I don't anymore, a very poor skater when I was a kid. I actually was brought up in Canterbury, so Canterbury.
There you go.
Yeah, Canterbury was my local rink, I don't think they do it now, but we used to go for a skate, and during the skating sessions, they'd get us all off the ice and get us to change direction, which I don't think anyone does anymore.
No one does that anymore. That needs to be brought back.
Yeah, clockwise and then counterclockwise. And one of the things that they did was they'd get everyone off the ice, and then they'd put the experience of the fast skaters on. And
I remember that. Yes.
yeah. And that would have been, the hockey players, and I just thought they were just absolutely amazing. So
So then when Jack started, was it because it was your local rink? Like, you obviously knew ice rinks existed in Australia, then it wasn't completely foreign.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's a bit of a funny story, but so SIA is at Norwest, not far from home, and we were out at a Father's Day lunch just on one of the restaurants on the lake.
Yeah.
And Jack sort of looked over at the rink and said, "What's that building?" And we said, "Oh, that's an ice rink." Well, what's an ice rink? So we all went over there, and he wanted to get on the ice. He'll be embarrassed by this, but he spent most of the time on his backside, but he couldn't wipe the smile off his face, and he wanted to come back. So then we, signed him up to skate school, and D-League, and the rest is history. And look, I have to declare that, Steve plays hockey as well now, has been playing for some time. And, my two nephews play, so, they join the same club. And you'd be interested to know, Sarah, that my niece, who's an American, she's actually a goalie. So
there is a goalie in the family.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I'm a very proud aunt. And she's 17, and has been involved in the USA hockey program.
Oh,
so
nice.
Yeah. So I'm very proud of her. I'm actually proud of Jack, and I'm proud of my nephews, Ryan and James, who play hockey, and Steve he still tries very hard. So
you should also be proud of yourself, which then leads me to, you talked a little bit about being team managers and on club committees and things like that. So beyond that, what else has happened? You've done things with Ice Hockey New South Wales, like you've taken it the next step up, right?
Yeah. So invariably, sort of get involved deeper and deeper with your club committee, which I did with with Emperors. So I was secretary for the Emperors and registrar over a period of 7 years or so. I was the club rep on the Ice Hockey New South Wales Committee of Management for about 4 years, and that sort of led me to other New South Wales roles like MPIO, Member Protection Information Officer. I was also state team manager for a couple of teams, which was really enjoyable, very rewarding. And also CDM for a couple of teams, including Ice Crocs. Most notably for me was the Ice Crocs that went to Quebec. So I was very fortunate to travel with them for about 3 years. That was absolutely fantastic. Had the best time with the coaches and the kids. It was just fantastic. Yes, I've been involved as manager for for AJ teams, and and was even involved with the AIHL club Ice Dogs for a couple of years. So
okay.
yeah, just sort of helped out with their management committee on just some structural and governance stuff, and helped them out with where I could. And in 2013, was asked to assist IHA with their national development camp as manager. Okay. And I did that. I was camp manager for quite a number of years. And in, I think it was 2014, 15, IHA needed to, or they created a position which was the director of national player development camps, and I took on that role, and have been doing it ever since.
We can talk a little bit more about in depth about the national camps, because next ones are coming up.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I mean, it sounds like a lot, and they're all volunteer roles, which we know is sometimes it's thankless and it takes a lot of effort, and I don't think people often realize that from the outside. So then, okay, doing that role within IHA, and then how did the pathway to presidency?
Oh, well,
other roles and things that you did as well.
Yeah, so in 2016, there was a position open for vice president, and I nominated and was elected in 2016 as vice president. There were two vice presidents at the time, so myself and Andy McDowell, and I stayed in that role until 2019, when Clive Connolly resigned. So he resigned early on 2019 due to health. We were very sad to see him go at that early time, and the board then elected me as president of IHA. So,
which, by the way, if people don't know, it's not only the first female president for IHA, it's the first female president for any double IHF member association, which is pretty significant. So congratulations on that.
Oh, look, thank you. I have to say that I was quite surprised at that. I would have thought that there would have been others by now, but yep. Look,
it's got to be a first, right? Hopefully others follow suit.
Yeah. Look, I was very honoured to find that out, and double IHF were surprised and delighted, I think, at that, and I think I might be the first, but hopefully not the last.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so then within your roles within IHA, so all of us, we're volunteers, like I mentioned. We all have skill sets outside the hockey world that we bring into the hockey world. So what is it that you bring to IHA?
I think I think administration skills, business acumen. I mean, I'm a business owner and have been, quite successful over a number of years. And I think importantly for IHA was my association experience.
Okay.
I came to IHA in 2016. I'd already been vice president and was the president of a national industry peak body. That's the Waste Management Resource and Recovery Association of Australia. And actually during my term as president of that industry body, we went through some significant constitutional and structural change that strengthened the association. So I thought that I could bring those association skills to IHA, and along with my business skills comes strong admin skills and strategic thinking, attention to detail. And I think those people that know me know that I bring a strong commitment to whatever I get involved in from a voluntary perspective, and and I've done that with hockey. I mean, I've made a strong commitment to the sport, and that includes a strong commitment of time. Skills are important, but commitment in time is really vital if you're going to be effective.
Oh, 100%. If we want to grow, we have to find the time to do it, or we're not going to grow. Okay, so I've just had a mental blank on what I was going to ask you next. Don't worry, these things don't get edited. Okay. So with it, we just keep going as is. Bring the pets along, bring small children along, whatever. Okay, so then, as your role as president, with bringing all those skill sets in, what were your priorities for Ice Hockey Australia? What are the things you really wanted to focus on?
Look, that's a really good question. And when you put your hand up for these roles, you don't necessarily have an agenda, and I certainly didn't have an agenda. What my priority was to be of service and to be as effective as I could for the organisation, and to do what was needed of me for the sport. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that I've learnt and became really clear was that national sporting organisations have or were undergoing great transformation in the last decade. And this was actually quite evident coming on to IHA. The government, our key stakeholders, IIHF, the AOC, and Sport Australia, were actually becoming more important to IHA. They were expecting a high level of governance, and not only that, but societal pressures were coming to the fore as well. So the expectations from parents were growing, expectation of our members were growing, and I think the organisation needed to be able to change and to adapt, and I think I've got a skill in that area. So I guess my focus was around understanding those pressures and understanding them with the board, and I guess in the last year and a half, ensuring that IHA strategies aligned or addressed those. And I have to say that the board, since coming on in 2016, that no doubt that the board and the members have taken up that challenge, and IHA has made some great strides, but there's still a whole lot more to be done. And I think that IHA is well placed to take on those challenges now.
And I think just even mentioning being NSO, Sports Australia, all these sorts of different things that we do want to align ourselves with, and whatever support we can get is obviously very useful, but it also means the good governance. It means the good accountability, doing things right, updating the policies, all those sorts of things, which maybe not everyone gets to see, but it's crucial if we want to keep delivering to the members, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, one of the things that we did achieve recently is that Sport Australia has recognised us as an NSO.
Nice.
So we've met their criteria, and that's till 2023, and
Oh, good.
that's through a lot of work done by the board and Jackie, our EO. Around updating and implementing some new policies, and increasing governance, recognising that we're now a company limited by guarantee, which was one of those boxes we needed to tick with
Right.
Sport Australia, but that meant that we needed to take very seriously our financial governance. Um, that's really important, because what that does is it actually gives us the opportunity to access more funding.
Hmm.
And for example, the sporting, I think it's the local sporting heroes
Yep.
grants for our local kids who make state teams. I mean, they're able to access those.
Because it's
And
recognized national sporting organization, right?
yep. Um, and I know that Sport Australia is actually looking at their funding model. And whilst hockey or ice hockey hasn't been one of those sports that they've funded, they're
Mm.
actually reviewing all that now. And IHA will be well placed to be negotiating grants or more funding. And I think we have actually got some grants from them with respect to women in sport.
Oh, good.
And yeah, I think I'm pretty sure Jackie got a grant in terms of administration, etc. And Sport Australia, I think, is actually reviewing their funding model, and they're looking at obviously participation grants. So
Mm.
IHA really needs to plug into those now that they've reached a certain level of governance and recognition by Sport Australia. So I see that there are many future opportunities for funding. The thing is that you talked about focus and objective, is that as a national sporting organisation, we need to constantly ask ourselves how relevant we are, and are we meeting the needs of our members, and how competitive we are with other sports.
Mm.
And to do that, we really need to be thinking outside of the traditional funding model, which is to increase membership fees to members. So we want to grow the sport, and we absolutely recognise how expensive the sport is. And and the board last year made a commitment that they wouldn't raise the membership fees for participants. And in fact, I think they need to go even further and look at ways of reducing fees. So that's about bringing more value to the members.
Yeah, 100%. Talking
Mm.
about bringing value to the members, new positions being created and appointed within IHA, which I think has been pretty significant. The more people that we're bringing on board to do various roles. So let's chat a little bit about that.
Yep.
What are the kind
Okay.
of things that we've created?
Okay. I think one of the we've actually expanded the. I call us the team. So we've expanded the team quite significantly. In 2019, we appointed an AJ commissioner,
Mm.
and that was really important, as we sort of separated the championships and the AJ. So now we've got a dedicated commissioner, Jill McLean. She's done an absolutely wonderful job. And our MPIO position was vacant for many years, and it was really pleasing to see so many people actually apply for the job.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and so we've got Kim Jura in the role, and so really happy about that. You spoke about the marketing team, and we've struggled over a number of years, and it's because the marketing role is a really, really big role, and we made a decision to actually expand. Rather than having one person, we've now got 5 people. So we've got a team of 5 of really, really outstanding people who have been working in the sport in the areas of, social media and marketing and communications. So that's really important. That's really important to IHA in terms of promoting the sport and communicating the successes, and also the pathways, bringing new people into the sport. And you mentioned high performance. As you know, when Marcus Frankenberger left us, we didn't replace him. And high performance is one of our key pillars or objectives for IHA. So in the past 18 months, I think did we appoint you to the role of marketing?
2019.
2019, right? Okay. So well, actually, with respect to high performance, we appointed Maddie Luoma to the role of high performance director, and we've got Jerome now in
Strength and
S&C.
conditioning,
yeah. And obviously, IHA created that goalie development manager role. I actually did that in 2018, and as you know, we had Bruce Poling in the role, and now yourself, and IHA has recognised the need to have a separate role, and it did that in, I think, 2018. So I think the issue around goaling has been one, I think, that the organisation recognises that. Not that we've been, and I wouldn't say IHA was deficient, but I just think that it needed a focus, and I think it was Andy McDowell that suggested that we create a new role, and that was, I think, that was a fantastic idea, and really glad that that you're in the role, and I think it's really encouraging, and I think it says a lot about the sport that we've managed to fill the roles twice with really highly experienced and qualified people. So I think that says a lot about the future of goaling in Australia.
Oh, well, I love what I do, and I try to deliver to the goalie community, which is what we mentioned marketing, and this is why we are wrapping this up, because now that we do have a marketing team, they're going to be taking on board a few other projects, which I'm not going to talk about. That could be for marketing to do. But, we've seen the newsletters already out. We've seen the increase in social media presence, all that sort of thing. So, and this is why I thought, well, now's a good time to wrap this one up, because the way to marketing. Okay, so from your perspective, what's our goalie community in Australia looking like to you? What are your thoughts on it?
Oh, that's a really
it's a huge question.
it's a huge question, and I guess the thing that strikes me is that we really have amazing people with fantastic experience and commitment in the goaling community. In the goaling community, there's a generosity in this sport which never ceases to amaze me. People like yourself and Don McDonald, Ryan O'Hanley, and many other goalie coaches who are so willing to give of their time. It really does floor me. I have to congratulate all of you guys for your commitment, care, and your dedication to the sport. And I think that's a huge strength.
The care is the big factor.
Yes. Yeah, but people shouldn't underestimate that the commitment is a time commitment. I think what people don't realise is that for example, with our development camps, all the coaches that come to the development camps are all volunteers. So you guys give up a week of your time, and and certainly I know,
or sometimes 2 weeks of,
yes,
of leave from work.
yeah, I was just about to say that, Sarah. So there's some of you that actually, give up 2 weeks of annual leave to come and spend at camp to
with kids that aren't our own.
Yeah, to teach and to give back to the sport in such a meaningful way. So I've been really privileged to meet a lot of coaches through development camps, and I really can't congratulate you all enough, and to say thank you on behalf of IHA and everyone involved with you guys. I think in terms of what we could do more from a goaling perspective, and this may seem simplistic, but I think we just need to encourage kids to put on the goalie gear.
We need more numbers. We still have too many gaps in the junior ages.
Yeah, we do, and there's a little bit of a concern of where we're heading in terms of access to goalies for our national teams. We need to find another Kimlin, but it's really good to hear and see the up and coming Jeremy Friedrich and
Olivia.
Yep. Olivia, Dawn Boss. I mean,
yes. We just need more of them.
Yeah, Seb Woodlands. We absolutely do need a lot more of them. And listen, I'm not an expert, but people like Ryan say that and others in the sport say that kids shouldn't specialise. So give them a go. Give them a go.
Rotate. Just rotate every week.
Yep. And that's how we've found. It's going back to 2007, 2008, but that's how kids got into the sport. Certainly in Emperors, Carl would just hand the goalie gear out at each game and say whose turn is it next? Yeah, whose turn is it next? And we found some good goalies that way. And certainly, even with my niece, she was a forward, and they were after a goalie. I don't quite recall the exact circumstances, but the coach gave her the goalie gear, and she was a bit reluctant. And at training, he asked for the goalie gear back, and she just shook her head. She said no, and that was basically the end of it. So. And the interesting thing is that a couple of goalies that I know, actually the same things happen. They've
just loved it.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. But,
well, that's it, right? You don't know until you try it.
Exactly. And so we need to be giving them, a go. And actually, Sarah, you purchased some of that
beginner sets. Yep.
Yeah. So that's you zip them in and out. I think that's a type of stuff that we need to continue doing. So.
Well, and hopefully next year, let's hope that 2021 actually we get things back to regular scheduling. The intention is that when Jamboree is up and running again, that's where it's going to be used.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
So it's there. So hopefully we'll get more goalies out of it. Okay. So what's next on the cards for you? So I know you're still involved with the national development camps.
Yes. So whilst I've stepped away from the board, I'm still with national camps. And this year, as you know, because of COVID, we're not running the camp, so we're doing a virtual camp, which is a number of presentations via Zoom. And I've been organising with Ryan and yourself as well. So I'd like to put a plug in for that. So if you're 2000,
I think it's 2006 to 2008, I think. I don't know if I've got my numbers right. I'll have to check.
Yeah, it's actually 2007, 2008, 2009 for the U13s, and then the under 18s or the 18U is open. Registration's open, so just go to IHA ESD Sports Desk, or have a look on Facebook where
the link's on the Facebook
Yep.
post. Yeah.
Yep, and I'd encourage goalies to sign up as well, because I know that you, Sarah, are working with Ryan on a couple of goalie-specific sessions. But I think there are a lot of sessions, as you and I talked earlier, that are applicable to goalies. So definitely sign up. It's an interesting format for us, but I think that. After all this stuff that's happened in Sydney, I guess what it shows us is that we really need to be adaptive and, be able to do things differently with COVID. So,
I mean, we pulled off the goalie coaching symposium that was entirely online. Hopefully next year we can have some of that in person, but I think that's it, that we can still deliver on some of these things. It's just not what we're normally used to.
Yeah, exactly. I think the uncertainty that COVID has thrown in front of us is really, I mean, it's not going away, and I don't think it'll go away for at least a year. So, we need to be looking at, how we can do some of these things nationally. But anyway, if you haven't registered,
sign up to camp.
Exactly. For me, I think I'll be taking a bit of a break. Clearly,
I think well deserved, by the way. So thank you for all your efforts.
Yeah, thanks very much. And look, I'm not leaving the sport, so happy to keep assisting in the background, and certainly at a local level. So and you'll still see me around the rinks.
Well, you're a local to us, so of course I'll see you.
yeah. But one of the we talked about. Some of the stuff that's happened with IHA, and we just talked about COVID. And I think one of the huge challenges that COVID brought to us was, how do we get this sport back on track locally?
Yes.
How do we get the sport back on track nationally? There's been issues with, isolation and mental health, and there have been, people in the sport who have done a lot in that regard. And Sarah, you're one of those. So I want to actually
thank you
for your efforts, because one of the things about your Wednesday Wisdoms is that you brought hockey back to us in our homes, in our offices, on our lounges. And the interviews have been fantastic. They've been amazing. And I think that's actually, kept a really important connection to the hockey community in general, not just the goalie community. So I congratulate you, for doing that. And, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think it's I don't think we hit quite 30 episodes or something like that, but we did kick this off in June. And one every week. It took a lot of effort, but I was talking to someone else about storytelling today, that I think it's important that we share our stories and our experiences. One, because it's relatable, because a lot of us have been there. It's never been an easy ride. And then just hearing people's different journeys as well, and something we can learn from. So my overall aim wasn't to, I need to get more viewer numbers, anything like that. It's, if I can just reach one person and they get something out of it, that they can take that value into their own world of goalieing, whether it's a coach, whether it's a player. We've had Maria Mountain on, we've had Ted Monaco on, we've had Dave Alexander, like NHL coach, role models within Australian ice hockey, both coaches and athletes. So we've covered pretty much everything. So if someone can resonate and take value in one message, then I've done my job.
Yeah, you have. Thank you.
So thank you. No, thank you. And from here, from people hopefully listening to your story as well, just realize this, one, the passion for hockey, once you're in, you're hooked, but also just how much just goes into the background, and that to appreciate that we are all volunteers here. It's, we do have jobs outside of hockey that puts food on the table, but we do this because we love it and because we care. And I hope that people can learn from your story as well.
Yeah. Look. Thank you. I agree. We are a sport based on volunteering, and we want more women in the sport as well. And I would like to keep encouraging women to be involved. girls to play the sport, and women to coach national teams. That's important.
There is a female goalie camp coming up. I've just confirmed ice time for it.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, yeah, we want more people to volunteer. We want more people to play the sport. And you're right. Once you're hooked, you're hooked for life.
You're in there. So I guess anyone that is watching this, if anyone did want to be involved at any level, but they're not sure how, you know, a parent or a coach is like, well, how do I get to coach on a national team or anything like that? Reach out to us. Just ask. We can help guide the way and show you what the opportunities are. And I don't think we can ever say we have too many volunteers. I don't think that's a thing. The more we have, the easier everyone's job actually becomes.
Yeah, exactly. You volunteer at a club level. Club needs, you know, clubs do need assistance. Our member association, you know, the states need assistance. So, you know, every little bit helps. Every little bit helps.
Absolutely. So on that note, thank you so much for everything you do for the sport and what you continue to do. Thank you for this chat today. It has been wonderful just hearing your story. Being our final one, thank you to all the guests we've had on. You know, everyone that's shared their stories. It's just been incredible just learning from everyone around the world. And obviously thank you to the viewers as well. And the feedback, it has been appreciated. It drives me to keep going, knowing that I'm reaching people and they're getting something out of this. So yeah, just really thank you all around to everyone. And being our last one, I guess it's a happy 2021, and here's to hopefully bigger, better, and healthier things.
Thanks, Sarah.